Hi, welcome to Carboot Wines HQ. My name is Erez Gordon, and today I'm going to talk to you about risk. Risk isn't something you normally think about when you're thinking about buying a bottle of wine. Risk is something you associate with maybe buying a house or investing in shares. All those things have possibly very consequential repercussions in your life. And yet, it seems to me when I talk to people about wine that often the thing that they like least about the process is the idea that they might get it wrong, that they might spend their money on a bottle of wine that they don't actually like. And so the risk element is something that I find people often try to mitigate, and they do that in a number of ways. They read professional reviewers and decide that those reviews should inform their wine buying habits. They speak to their friends, they speak to people like us who sell wine retail, they ask our opinion. Weirdly, one of the questions that I get asked the most is, what is your favourite wine? I'm not sure what my favourite wine has to do with what wine you like to drink, but people obviously like to sort of gather information as they go along, and maybe in amongst all that information they'll find something that really suits them. When I get asked the question, what is your favourite wine, I find it really difficult to answer. It's easy to say Grand Cru Burgundy, but that's not the wine that I drink every day, and that's not the wine that I look to drink every day. Here's the hard truth about people who are in the wine industry. I possibly never drink the same wine twice, and if I do, it's going to be probably a long time apart. I'm constantly looking for what else is out there, what's new. Wines that I've liked before have got new vintages to try. Wines that I've never tried before are clamoring for my attention. There's so much out there that to have the same wine twice seems sometimes like potentially a waste of time. And yet, in amongst all that, there is a huge element of risk that I won't like every one that I try because, well, that's just a fairy tale, isn't it? You don't like everything. But the idea that you won't like a wine isn't actually that bad. It's okay not to like a wine. In fact, it's probably quite educational. When you don't like a wine, it galvanizes your thoughts. You understand what you don't like, and by understanding that, you perhaps have a greater understanding of what you do like and what you look for in a wine that's going to please you the most. So when it comes to selecting wines, I think an element of risk is actually not a bad thing at all. And in fact, the further out you move from your comfort levels, the more likely you are to find a wine that is, realistically speaking, a nugget. So next time you're standing in front of a wall of wine and some of those wines are unfamiliar to you, sure, you can ask the guy behind the counter. You can maybe pull up your phone and see if there's something online that talks about what the wine tastes like, or you can just bite the bullet, have a look, buy it, take it home, taste it, see what you think, and then come back and decide if you want to do it again or not. So I encourage risky behaviour when it comes to drinking wine, and I think that it will pay off in the long run. Tonight I'm drinking, we're going to drink Grenache today, but this is not Grenache from Australia, and it's not Grenache from the Rhone Valley in France. This is Grenache from Spain, more specifically from the region of Valencia. So the interesting thing about drinking Grenache from Australia versus France versus Spain is that, yes, it's the same grape, but no, it doesn't always taste the same. Australian Grenache has a very sort of expected fruit spectrum. This wine today is from Dominio de la Vega. It's the Garnacha 2017 vintage from the region of Utiel-Requena, which I think I've spoken about before. And it's quite interesting in terms of Grenache. It has some really lovely lifted chocolate notes on the bouquet, as well as a little bit of sort of raspberry and cherry. You might even call it a sort of a cherry ripe spectrum. It's really attractive. It smells rich and full and forward. It smells like it's going to be quite a big wine in the mouth. Lots of flavour, but all that is offset by some really quite prominent and well integrated acidity, which makes the wine quite zingy and moreish and fresh. It also has a really lovely tannin structure. They're sort of medium to soft tannins. They're quite grippy on the front, and they sort of peter out as they go towards the back of the palate, but they make the wine lovely and structured, and all the fruit sits inside that tannin basket very, very well. It's a really satisfying wine to drink. So lots of big chocolatey raspberry smells in the nose, and then follows through with more red fruits and tannin and acid. Very, very satisfying and long, which is, you know, always the hallmark of a good wine. Spanish Grenache, or Garnacha, as they like to call it. It's the bottle. If you haven't had one, why not try one? It's okay. Take a risk.